Hey there, YouTube. This is Cresta, and here's the newest updated version of ILMOS. For those of you guys who are just tuning in to this channel in general, there's been a point in time where right after Strauss got banned, where I made the deck called In Loving Memory of Stratos. This deck has gone through a lot of iterations, like depending on the ban list, new sets coming out, and what have you. And this is the most current one we have. So ILMOS stands for In Loving Memory of Stratos, and what the deck is that it has a lot of monsters where you normal summon it, you search for something in your deck. Yep, and that's the premise of it. Generally, you're going to search out a back row card to then exceed your monsters with, and use that back row card to protect your monster, and then you make more back row searching monsters and etc. etc. You'll get the gist of it in a few minutes. So start off with we have Hanzo. He searches out the super poly basically of the deck. And what the Super Poly's targets are is Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon and Samurai Cavalry of Reptier. So the reason why I play Cavalry of Reptier is because it's a level 4 that you can go into. And say your opponent lances his monster. That means I have to send Cavalry Reptier. I have to send Hanzo to special out level 4, which would be Cavalry Reptier. And if I send a Pendulum monster on my opponent's side of the field, his monster goes to the extra deck. And Hanzo is the only one going to be in the graveyard, meaning I can only scan on level 4, which means I can bring out Riptier from there. And there are times where, say, my opponents can't do anything else with his turn. If I super transformation targeted his monster, I will summon Riptier, and on my next turn, I can summon a level 4 search and exceed with the Riptier, something that I cannot do with Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. And yeah, that's it. It's pretty cool. Very good disruption card. Very good. And a really cool thing you can do with this deck is say you have two transformation targets set in the Hanzo. You can flip one transformation, target your opponent's monster, and then change your other transformation, targeting your opponent's other monster. Chain link results backwards. You're going to send your Hanzo and their monster to the graveyard to special summon an Odd Eyes. And then the second transformation is going to resolve, sending your opponent's monster to the graveyard, letting you summon a Reptier. And that is super duper awesome. You're gonna need to do a little explaining to the opponent sometimes on how that works, but that's how it works, trust me. Mirabello, you search out the Boundless, the Deep Dark, the Time Space, and the Nightmare. These three are mainly here to combat Cosmo, and they're pretty good on their own. And Nightmares help combat everything else. And when you pendulum summon her, like this deck has a lot of pendulum options. So if you pendulum summon her, you can pop a back row, and that's like reminiscent of Strauss being able to pop a back row when he summoned. Mageline. Mageline is your consistent level 4 engine. You just keep summoning her over and over and over again. So summon her, special level 4, exceed. Summon the second one, special another level 4, exceed. Summon the third one, special level 4, exceed. And she's just a constant level 4 that you can always get no matter what, something that other searchers can't do. So yeah, and a really cool combo, no, not combo, but a thing the deck can do is say you have a Magician in the graveyard because you summoned the one, exceeded, for like a generic level 4 or whatever. Then you summon your second Magician next turn, and then you apply your Pendulum Scale with like him and her, special the third Magician, and then exceed into a Tiramisu. And that's super duper cool. Yeah, there was a time where I actually thought about taking her out, and I did for a little while, but I did not like the deck nearly as much, like nowhere close to what I liked from the deck when she was in the deck. I put her back in, fell back in love with her, and I did not think about taking her out ever since. She's amazing. I would never take her out. If you draw two, it's still not bad, because you can just summon one, search out the other one, and hopefully you have your pendulum scale to be active, and then you can just special two from your hand. Then you have three Magdalens on the field now, and most likely another level 4 that you pendulum summon as well. And then you can just succeed into something like a imp with a Magdalene, and then now you have Magdalene in the graveyard, so you exceed the other two Magdalenes for a Timisu. Pendulum options. Your fourth Joker, the newest addition to the deck, is Perform Power Skull Acrobat Joker. So Joker's targets are Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon and Dragon Vein Magician. So the reason why I played Dragon Vein Magician is because you generally want your Odd Eyes in the deck, so you have your Super Transformation targets like there. And Dragon Vein Magician is another level 4, so you would summon him, grab him, and then he's like the last monster you would ever want to summon from your hand. But it's nice to have an actual option like later in game to have a summon. And he's a spellcaster, so if you want to play Gigabyte instead of like your Kagura Kages, then there's that option. But the most important part about him is that he's a scale of 1. The most important part of him. And that is because the main pendulum monster you're going to see in your hand most of the time is Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. There was a time where I only played Odd Eyes and no Dragon Vein, or no Magician Pendulum in general. And Odd Eyes cannot summon anything, like, at all. He's a scale of 4, and the entire deck is of 4s, except for, like, her. But even then, you can't even summon her. So Odd Eyes' only purpose in the deck is just to pop himself to add a eccentric archfiend, and that's just a slow thing to do. So what I need to do is add in Dragon Bane Magician. So when you summon this Callback Joker, the first card you want to search out is Dragon Bane Magician, unless like you really need an eccentric archfiend like the next turn. But Dragon Bane Magician, being a scale of 1, has synergy with eccentric archfiend and another Skullcrobat Joker. That way you can actually summon your level 4s and, do stuff instead of being stuck there with the Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, and the only thing you can possibly do with them is to just to pop for eccentric. And before I had a Reptier and eccentric archfiend and Joker as my only like actual pendulum options. And I would rather summon him to add another pendulum scale, to be honest. And the only thing I could summon, like, there are times where I want to summon eccentric archfiend from the extra deck to pop a monster. Thanks to Dragon Vein's one scale, then I can now summon eccentric archfiends in order to do stuff. So the optimal scale that you would really want is a magician and a joker in your extra decks in your scales, so you can summon everything in your deck. Or you have a him and her, so you can summon everything in your deck besides a pendulum dragon. And yeah, basically having him in a deck fixes the scale, and it makes your pendulum engine a lot more consistent than what it used to be. Before I played that one Chinese one that makes your exceed monsters be able to be exceedable. Like it gives it a level basically. I played him for a bit, but then his scale of 3 was extremely awkward, and I was not able to pendulum summon as often as I would want to. And I never really actually used this effect to like turn an exceed monster into another like level. Like it never really happened. So I took him out and I put him in, and then the pendulum scales just got a lot more consistent. So that's why I love playing this guy. And there was actually a time where I had run out of monsters, and he was the only one left in my hand. And I had no more summoned him, and then I poked for game. So something I couldn't do with another magician. There are other level 4 magicians, but the scale of 1 is just so important, and 1800 is pretty good. The Gem Knights I play for the Gem Fusions, because, double summoning 2 normal summons and normal summon that deck is extremely cool. Well, not cool, but yeah, it's cool, but it's just good. Good. 2 Kage You could play Gigabyte, because you do play a lot of spellcasters, like a lot of spellcasters. But I chose to play Kage because he works with everything else as well. And when I go first turn, I would rather have like, say a Mirmelo and a Kage, so I can go first turn into Rafflesia instead of like having a mirror and a gigabyte and then I can't do anything with it. So he's here to like be more consistent with like the first turns. You can play gigabyte if you want to, go for it. I just choose to play Kage. You have your obvious clown engine. There's no need to explain here. Level 4 spam. More level 4 spam with the Rota target. Such Archfiend. I play 3 because you have your Odd Eye. It's like the only Odd Eyes target, so you don't want to run out, like, ever. If you have Odd Eyes in your hand and no Eccentric Archfiend in your deck, Odd Eyes is actually completely useless. Like, White Dragon Ninja level useless. So, Having three maxed out makes it consistent and make sure I have a target at all times. I said Dragon Bane already. Reptier is cool because he pops stuff. Yeah. One Rhoda, rest in peace. Three Brilliant Fusions, extremely good card to open up with. Because if you open up with Brilliant Fusion, then you have like extra normal summons. You can possibly get out like a first turn Hanzo, this set, and this on the field for a cool lockdown. You can get out Infinity first turn, get a search out, whatever you have. It's just really cool, really good first turn opening. Like it's just so amazing. Instant fusion is obvious. Thing you could do is if you instant fusion Hanzo from the graveyard to get your Ninja Sword transformations active again, you can exceed with Noden and then another level 4 in the field, and then you can still have like your Hanzo and your Ninja Sword action again. So it makes this consistently like a lot better. Trap Hole Engine, I already explained, and this I explained. Extra deck, two Nodens, two Surf Knights, Dweller, Castell, Emerald, really good to recycle, but you can also exceed with like him with a level 4. If you have him in the graveyard, you can special him with Emerald, then special back your Trick Clown, and then make her. And then next turn, use her to protect him, and then next turn you recycle like you recycle three to draw one, or you can special back him to do some more action. Options. He searches out Kage Takage, but he's really mainly here so you can like get a monster in a graveyard. So you can like do like instant fusion like stuff or whatever. And yeah, get your hand searching going. He's basically a Strauss of the extra deck. You got her. Heartline Draco I play because of Brilliant Fusion if it's on the field, or Pendulum Scale if that's on the field. It does it count for Pendulum Scales? I've never actually done it. Yep, it does count for pendulum scales. So it works when cannot be attacked when you have like Brilliant Fusion or Pendulum Scale out. So that is tight. Rafflesia is amazing in this deck, and you have Cyber Dragon Infinity. I've honestly debated on taking it out. Honestly have, because by the time Infinity comes out, I have theorized that everybody and their mother is going to be playing Phoenix Chain or Breakthrough Skill, thus rendering Infinity kind of useless, and you've wasted three monsters in order to make this guy, and that's kind of like, eh. And also, if your opponent has a Rafflesia out, which I'm assuming is going to be like a meta card, she's just going to Nightmare Trap Hold Patamus or Bombless Trap Hold Nova. Then you have this in your extra deck chilling. So I have honestly debated on taking it out for like other uh exceeds, because that's three spaces right there that could be used for like everything else. But I kept him in because he's cool. Yeah, that's really it. And also, more on the meta. Cosmo. I think Cosmo's gonna be really, really huge. If you've noticed in the main deck, there is no actual like main decked out to Dark Destroyer, like at all. I cannot get past the monster that's 3,000 big and cannot be targeted, and it's a floater. So there's a lot of hatred for Cosmo, a lot of hatred, like a lot. Okay. So these guys right here are here to obviously protect you from like Cosmos doing too cool of things. So you can't hold them off during game one as long as you don't let their like monsters live. So game one you always want to go into Rafflesia, always, to get these three like active to stop them from doing anything. But game two, this is a roto target, so you can mill Cyber Dragon to contact, and you can just do more things. And then if you like later in game, if you're running out of like Cyber Dragons and Chimera Ticks, you can just throw back in your deck with Douglas Emerald, and then hopefully contact with them once again. Three Maxis, yep, two MSTs. More Cosmo hate, but it's just an overall good card. You don't use your graveyard too often, but I thought about taking this out a lot. Like honestly, it hasn't like detrimented me too much, but I can see where it can like hold me back. But it's just here for space filler. I don't know what the meta's gonna be like completely, so I just wanted to throw in more Cosmo hate. And this here is a kind of like a Magic Spectre hate kind of card, because you do play Odd Eyes and King of Pharaoh Imp, which you can both go into both of them relatively easily. Which is kind of hypocritical of me to say because I can't really bring him out without Ninjutsu arting something. But I have heard that pure Magic Specters suck, and they do play Clown Engine in there to like help make it better. So, you can actually Ninja sort their like secondary engine to go into Odd Eyes to go into Deck Devi. But deck Debbie is also good against whatever else have you. Okay, so this is a long deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy the deck. There will be more videos in the future of this deck. This is Crow Cresta, signing out.